the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rowling. Do you believe you are capable of choosing your future? Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, or you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Hello, my friends. How are you? Welcome to the Becoming You show. I love being here with you. I love feeling as if you're on the other end and we're just having a chat, a conversation. Do I wish that we were together? Yes, I do. And hoping that we can get together at an event that we're going to be holding, and more to come on that. But I do like to envision you all like right here in my room as I record this. That helps me continue the flow, and it continues to help me think about how I want to have and facilitate these conversations with you. So I was thinking about what they say as it relates to April showers, right? Bring May flowers. And as it is right now, it's April and it's raining. And I'm so excited to see what comes truly in May, because our team, has been doing massive amounts of watering, I'll just say, right? So there are a few things that I wanted to share with you before we dig in. And so I appreciate the space to be able to do that, because I want to invite you into our world. I want to invite you into our community. So the first thing that we've been working on is the Shift community. And we have decided, because we want to make tremendous impact, we're offering our Shift membership for $197 for the entire year. Like what? Yes. So for the very first 25 people, like, we are extending an invitation for obviously a limited time only, but we're opening the doors to the Shift membership for just $197, because we believe in your transformation. We believe in your growth, and we want you to have empowerment at your fingertips. So if I can, I'm going to take 2 minutes. I'm just going to tease out Shift. If you're new to this podcast, if you're new to hearing me, I rarely ever do this. Sometimes I do it at the very end, and most times not at all. Most times I'm just constantly just having conversations with you and giving you frameworks and giving you ideas and new ways to think and new ways to feel and new ways to believe and new ways to show up for your teams and your families and to really disrupt the way that you live and that you love. And so I'm going to take just a minute or two to talk to you about Shift and why I think it's so important, and why I'm so passionate, and why we've been so passionate about watering it, because I know the flowers and the blooms on the other side of it will be transformational. So one, you got top-notch coaches, right? You'll get access to me. You'll get access to guidance of one of the most and best intuitive coaches in the country. Together with other coaches, we're going to help you navigate truly the twists and the turns of life, inviting you back into the potential that you are. That's first. Second, a community, right? Say hello to a community of like-minded, growth-oriented individuals just like you, right? So whether or not you're facing transitions or challenges, or just simply just craving like more fulfillment, that sense of aliveness, that sense of vitality, that sense of more in your life, this community is going to have your back. We are going to dive in to what I think are pretty transformational topics. We're going to go deeper into most topics than I would say most people do, because We do. And we want to bring all of that to you. So from beliefs to leadership to time management to relationships, we're going to cover it all. And we're going to level everybody up in every aspect of your life by going deep and really questioning what we believe to be true about all of it. What's true about time? What's true about relationships? What's true about what's possible as it relates to money, right? I think for too many of us, we aren't thinking outside of the box as it relates to the possibility of our future. Rather, we go to the past to dictate what's possible for us. No. Not in shift. In shift, we're shifting into the future and drawing what's possible from what hasn't even been available for us yet to consider. The other thing that's going to be in there is vault access to what I'll just call a treasure trove of all of the programs that we've ever done, whether it be on clutter, whether it be on relationships, whether it be on leadership, whether it be on communication, whether it's on feelings or beliefs or productivity, clarity, you name it, it's going to be in there. You'll get access to it. And VIP treatment. Okay. So if not any of that is enough for the price of honestly a cup of coffee every month, you're going to get VIP access at our upcoming events. Okay. So here's truly the $1 million ticket. How much time are you currently dedicating to intentionally shaping and creating your life? That's the question. And if you are stuck in the same old thought patterns, if you aren't creating anything new because you're not thinking about anything new, this is the membership. This is the membership because we're going to start first with disrupting the way you think. And the way you think, as you know, if you've been on this podcast, is the catalyst for every single result that you have in your life, right? So I truly believe, and as you can tell in my voice, I'm so passionate about this membership. It is the ticket, I believe, to a life of passion, a life of purpose, a life of limitless potential, right? And I know that when there is an investment in something like this, the question is, but what about my return? Okay, what about my ROI? And I get it. But here's what I know with 1,000% conviction. There is an ROL piece to this. There is an adding a zero to your life piece in this. And it just so happens that when you feel richer, you attract abundance in everything. So I'm talking about adding another month to your year by way of time. I'm talking about adding another zero to your net worth and your bank account. I'm talking about adding photo rolls of experiences that you have with your family and your friends and the trips that you take. Adding more fun in your roles and in your journaling, more contribution, more service, all of it, right? So all of that to say, I would love, if you haven't felt that from me, I would love to have you in there. So thank you. Thank you for letting me share all the watering that we've been doing this month. And truly for considering the invitation. If you want to know more, you can find more information, link to it on the show notes, email me, find me. But either way, choose you. Like, I don't necessarily care that you choose shift. I just want you to choose you. Choose your shift. Choose your potential. Because there's a reason. There's a reason that you're listening to this. There's a reason that there's a part of you that wants more, that knows there's more, and that more is not random. It's not random. There's a reason for it. And I want you just to trust that reason and follow it. And if that follows you back to us, awesome. We'd love to have you in there. But follow it somewhere, please. Okay, so fine. That is what we're talking about today, right? I'm calling it the fine facade, okay? It's become kind of a cultural phenomena, hasn't it, right? Like we've all been there. Plastering on that smile, uttering those two little words, I'm fine, right? Everything's fine. It's going to be fine, right? Um, it's rainbow fine. That was my new one, right? But it's almost become like a reflex, like a default response to any inquiry we might get about how we are, right? Heck, we've even turned it into a punchline. We're printing it on T-shirts, we're slapping it on stickers. But here's the harsh truth. Behind that seemingly innocuous word, right, lies a world of pain, of silent struggles masked by this placating of self. For many of us, myself included, the fine facade is, is more than just a habit. It's a prison. We lock away our true feelings, our deepest fears, because we're terrified. We're terrified of being judged. We're terrified of being misunderstood. But let me ask you this, and I do so with all the love that I have. Who's the real judge here? Who's really judging us? It's us. It's you. It's me. We're the ones holding ourselves captive with our own harsh judgments, while the world outside remains blissfully unaware of our silent suffering. And let's not also forget about all the guilt and the regret and the shame that we carry from all of our past experiences. We're so consumed by our own self-condemnation that we assume others will judge us just as harshly. But here is the invitation that I want to give to you. And I'm always giving you an invitation. I'm always going to challenge you. Sharing our stories, like our real stories, our struggles, it takes guts. It takes courage. It takes courage to break free from the suffocating silence of I'm fine, it's fine, everything's fine, right? How are you? Better yet, how are you? Let's just get off of me, because what I think and how I feel and my experience in my life doesn't matter. You're way more important than that. Let's just talk about you. So we quickly dismiss with a quick fine so that we can get on with what's way more important. And what's way more important isn't us. Does anyone feel that way? Like, God, I do sometimes. And man, I lived decades feeling that way. Like really dismissing and dishonoring, and invalidating my entire experience because other people had it worse. Because who was I to complain about my life when so many people, my brother, had it so much worse than I did? Who was I to complain? Who was I to take up space? Who was I to have an emotion other than fine? Because as long as I was fine, I wasn't bothersome. As long as I was fine, I didn't, I didn't, I wasn't too big for anybody. As long as I was fine, I didn't disrupt anyone else's peace. I didn't rob anyone of their time, because clearly their time was way more important than any time navigating and listening to whatever it is that I was experiencing. So I'll let you in on a little secret. For asking for help, sharing your story, it's not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to our strength. It's a declaration that we refuse to be silenced by shame, by fear. Because here's also the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Nothing, absolutely nothing we've ever done diminishes our worth. Our past mistakes, our regrets, they don't define us. They are just chapters in the story that is our life. And when we silence ourselves, when we ignore, when we find a way our existence, we rob ourselves of the chance to heal, to grow, and to connect in any level of depth, right? We become prisoners of our own shame, trapped in a cycle of self-imposed isolation. And let me tell you, that is no way to live. And if you've listened to my podcast, you know that I lived there for way too many decades, right? Way too many decades. And I don't want anyone else to have to live there. And if you're living there, here's an invitation to get out. And if you've never lived there, I don't want you to go back. Okay. I was talking to my husband about this on our walk, right? I love getting his perspective on all things that I think about because it's always so simple, right? Do you know anybody like that? Like you talk about what you think is such a big idea, like this notion of fine and the fine facade, and his responses to it are just so simple and so profound. So I told him that I was going to do a podcast on I think I called it the fine addiction. Yeah, the fine addiction, right? And he of course is like, what does that mean, right? The fine addiction. And after I shared with him what it means, he said, do you remember last night when we were at dinner? There were two women sitting next to us at the table, and both of them were more interested in taking selfies than taking interest in each other. And I was like, yes, I actually do remember that. And as we were teasing this out, I was thinking, how often do we try to create that perfect pose, that perfect tagline, that perfect look to post over having the conversation that is the most important? So when I think about the fine facade, that truly being addicted to fine, I can't help but feel that this is perpetuating it a bit. All of the selfie-worthy reels and stories, the curated images that don't really reflect, or don't often, I should say, reflect reality. I mean, I know for me, I was challenged recently to do more stories, right? So I'm trying, but it's challenging. It's challenging for me to do so, right? Because I'm trying to show up me. I'm trying to show up to share my real life with you, the one that is super messy and imperfect. But it's hard for me, right? It's hard for me because I think to myself, why does it matter? Why does it matter what I'm doing, right? Why does it matter that I'm taking the dog for a walk? Why does it matter that I'm journaling in the car with my son? Why does it matter that my son took a picture of some trees that I thought were absolutely beautiful and he just sent them to me randomly? Why does any of that matter? And then I allow myself to think, why shouldn't it matter? Maybe a nice combination of not only sharing with people what I do, but how I live. I like to think that I live with integrity. I don't ask anything of you that I don't ask and commit to for myself. So, how are you showing up on social? How much time do you spend on social? What is your social strategy? Meaning, what is your intent on social? Do you find yourself just sharing and connecting in a way that feels good and energizing? Or do you find yourself feeling deflated, right? Maybe because you're not living up to the reels and the highlights of others, right? Maybe you do both a time audit and a social audit. How much time do you want to spend, and who inspires you, who challenges you in a good way? And can we unfollow everyone else? So I know I kind of got sidetracked, but sometimes my husband and I, when we're on these walks and I talk to him about my big thoughts, he brings them down and he makes them so simple, right? When we think about what's fine and what's not, how would you define those? And is it affecting the way that you're showing up in your life? I know for sure it was for me. I know for sure it was for me. I also think that we fine away our life because we don't want to be a burden. And I think I illustrated this earlier, right? Many of us hesitate really to share our struggles because one, we don't want to burden others, or two, we don't want to appear weak. I know for me, so much of my life was not spent wanting to be a burden to my mom. She had so much to deal with, right? And as I mentioned, I also didn't feel like I had any right to complain, to honor my own struggle because my struggles were so much less significant than my brothers, than my sisters. And so fine just became my go-to, right? What would it look like if you reached out to someone that you trust and share something that you've been struggling with? And I want you to notice how it feels to open up and receive support on the other side of that fake fine is an opportunity to grow. There's wisdom on the other side of that fake fine. Truth strength comes from that vulnerability and allowing ourselves to be seen, flaws and all. Because if you weren't fine, who would you really be? How would you really feel? Would you feel frustrated? Would you feel exhausted? Would you feel overwhelmed? Do you have anyone to share how you really feel with? Or are you the one that's got to be the one that has it all together? Are you the one that always has to be the one that's got all their T's crossed and their I's dotted? Right? And if you are, I see you. I was you. I continue to be you. It's not as if you can check this box off. Like, yep, personal development, self-mastery, check. Right? It's daily work and it's worth it. I promise you it's worth it. So here's the other thing that I want to tease out before I think my time is running out is this idea as it relates to this space with regards to stories, okay, on Instagram. Sometimes I feel as though I don't have anything interesting to say. I sit there and think, right, that I don't have anything to say. Like, what is so important that I would want to waste someone's time with my mindless chatter, right? And I know for me, the pressure to be entertaining, the pressure to be insightful, can truly like silence like my authentic voice. Like this is where I get to come and share with you like my authentic voice because you choose to be here. Like you chose to like hit my podcast and God, I thank you. I thank you so much. I truly do. But on that story, like you come up and you interrupt people's social time. And so I feel as if I want to say something that's really thought inspiring or that's really profound. And what I'm finding is that it takes practice. It takes practice to just kind of show up and say, "Hey, this is me today." And I have to think and trust that that you can just remove me or you can just like scroll on by or however that works, right? So I just embraced sucking at it, right? So I ask in advance for your patience, okay? I do want to ask you to unburden yourself from having to figure it all out, from feeling as if fine is in our nature, as if that there's not a possibility outside of fine, right? Society often expects us to have our lives together, but the truth is none of us really know the answers. So can we practice self-compassion? Can we remind yourself that it's okay not to have everything figured out? Can we embrace the uncertainty as an opportunity for our own growth and discovering and embrace the unknown and allow ourselves to stay curious and open-minded? So here's my challenge to you. Break free from the fine facade. Reach out, share your truth with someone you trust. Open yourself up to the possibility of deeper connection, of deeper healing, and more profound growth. Because when we embrace our imperfections, when we shine a light on some of those darkest corners that most of us don't want to shine a light on, that's when the real magic happens. That's when we truly start living. And you don't have to take my advice from it. Like I have got so much testimony and so many clients that share freely when I shined light on my imperfections, when I allowed myself to be vulnerable enough to disclose those things that I wouldn't want anyone else to know about me. I became free to accept me, all of me, my mess and my awesome, right? It's okay to not be okay. You don't have to be fine all of the time. No one is. And if they are, they're not being true to themselves, and they most likely aren't being true to you. So next time you offer up to yourself, I'm fine, I want you to really ask, are you? Are you really fine? So now I have a saying, and you can borrow it, is I'm rainbow fine. And what that means is I have really considered how it is that I'm really thinking and I'm really feeling. And I've rainbowed my way to a real, true fine. If I'm not rainbow fine, I'm not fine. So what fine are you? I want you to discover and I want you to explore that for yourself. Because if you're not rainbow fine, you can be anything else. You can be frustrated. You can be discouraged. You can be annoyed. You can be overwhelmed. Because when you have access to that, when you have an awareness to that, you won't stay stuck there. The reason we stay stuck in the suffering is because we resist it, because we label it with fine. When you allow yourself to feel anything that you want to feel, suffering ends and you begin to live. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rolling, where I share big ideas to inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every Friday at 11 Central on transformationtalkradio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahrolling.com.